Getting back to take another quick look at COVID and its impact, a lot of us have already seen and experienced since March the emergency lockdown, the work from home policies that governments have mandated, and it forced many companies to rethink how they do their technology. Now you have all of these telecommuters, you need to make sure their internet connections are up. They have all the tools that they need in order to be productive and effective in their roles. But now, as we move into 2021, there's going to be a new issue that emerges. You can't simply go from this COVID world and forced mandated work from home back to bringing everybody back to the office, because there are new concerns and anxieties in society today that didn't exist as much pre-COVID-19. That means ultimately you're going to have a hybrid strategy environment. You're going to have an environment that deals with telecommuters, that deals with people on site, but also within the same department, since you're going to have that variation. All of those tools need to work seamlessly together, department by department, and then, of course, outside of the organization as well. This is a great perspective, and it shows a change that we're seeing in the market across a lot of mid-enterprises. Traditionally, as I said earlier, companies will look at individuals coming on and onboard them, providing them and mandating the tools that they use. It is a very business and structure perspective on how to create communication, collaboration, and connecting tools for employees. But that's rapidly changing today. And a lot of companies are starting now with a strategy that focuses on the individual first. So we start by looking at the individuals, what their roles are, what their needs are, and then we work our way out. How do we get them to connect, collaborate, and communicate effectively? We move out one layer and we start looking at the tools that are available that they are willing to use that will make them work much more efficiently. But then we have to add in another factor, right? That next layer out looks at governance, compliance, and risk, regulatory issues that make demands on how secure your digital workplace strategy is. And finally, if you do all of that well, that final outer layer means you're going to have real results. And these are the different types of results that you'll see. If your digital workplace optimization strategy is strong, you're going to have more revenue. You're going to be able to save money. You're going to have greater innovation. You'll be able to improve the employee experience. And that focus from the inside, from the individual on out, is a change that we're seeing in almost every industry among mid-enterprises today. When you put a digital workplace optimization strategy together, a lot of things are going to be new. And there is a certain amount of education involved in making the decisions, but there's also a certain amount of guesswork involved. And that means you really need to measure the success of your solutions and make modifications and adjustments over time. And there's a lot of ways to do measurements. A difference between a KPI and a measurement is you can measure anything, but a KPI measures against a threshold and a goal. And it shows you whether you're succeeding in your implementations or not. If you pay $500,000 for a new communication collaboration tool, you want to make sure that your users are using them. And so at the very base level of KPIs, you have fundamental technology KPIs. Is your equipment working? Is it up? Is it performing as well as it should? The next level, or at the very top, are the kinds of KPIs that CFOs have long been comfortable with. How is your bottom line? Are you generating the revenue? Is your overall sales improving? Do you have the profit that you need? And then, of course, in HR as well, you want to track employee satisfaction and productivity. But the two in the middle there, that second and third layer, that's really the type of KPIs that companies need to start looking at and focusing now more than ever if they want to have a successful digital workplace optimization. That first one, that number 2, is adoption KPIs. This is really measuring over time. So if you purchase Zoom and you implement it, you purchase Microsoft Teams, you want to check to make sure that employees are actually using the platform. Maybe it has an adverse effect on email. You implement Slack, a collaboration tool. Suddenly you notice that your email has dropped dramatically. Maybe whole departments can get rid of email. Maybe that means you can stop paying for as many licenses for email as you currently are. So looking at adoption KPIs, which is basically measuring over time, is really critical. And then, of course, there's insight APIs. These look at your departments and how they're performing versus their goals. these types of departmental KPIs can also impact the decisions you make on making adjustments and fine-tuning your digital optimization strategy. And of course, as an overlay on top of all this, you've probably been hearing this undertone throughout all the slides that I've been talking about, where we're really looking at employee satisfaction. At the end of the day, because you want your employees to be using these tools, to be satisfied with these tools, and be effective in your organization with these tools to help your bottom line, what we're really talking about here is this underlying current of digital culture. And you're looking at, how do you make sure your employees are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing without looking like Big Brother, and really focusing on looking like an organization that cares about their employees and their employees' ability to function within your organization? Digital culture today is a much more fundamental and formalized process within an overall implementation strategy.